Okay, so today is nominative, accusative, and dative review, and a couple new things about them. Okay, so, alright. First part, nominative. Okay. So in German, again, it's called Nominativ. And that is the main subject of the sentence. Okay. So it is the thing doing the action. It is the thing that you conjugate the verb for. You have to have a main subject in the sentence. So bare minimum for a sentence is main subject and a verb. Okay? Beyond that, you can have other things, or you might be done with that. And there are some verbs, they call them linking verbs. They link both sides of the sentence, both sides of the verb. Okay? When you use a linking verb, both sides of it stay nominative. Okay? So the ones for now that you need to know are sein, and werden, heißen, and bleiben. What does sein mean? To be. Good. What about werden? Will or to become? What about heißen? To be called. Yep. And bleiben? To stay. Good. Okay, so in the example sentences, der Mann ist ein Arzt. So der Mann is nominative and ein Arzt is nominative. Okay. So a lot of people assume that there can only be one nominative thing and then they automatically change the other thing into accusative just out of habit. Okay. But in this case, because sein was the verb that we used there, both sides stay nominative. What does that mean? Der Mann ist ein Arzt. The man is a doctor. Richtig. Okay. And the other example, der Mann wird ein Arzt sein. So this time we're using werden, so we have another linking verb. What does that sentence mean? The man will become a doctor. Accusative, or accusative. That is the thing that is the direct object of the sentence. It is the thing directly affected by the verb, by the action. Okay. So in that case, it's, whatever you have, whatever you break, whatever you write, whatever you buy, whatever you eat, those things are the direct objects. Okay. Could be a person, it could be a thing. Okay. Whomever you know, whomever you invite, they're all directly affected by it. Okay. The other option is that it might follow a preposition. Okay. There's another kind of preposition you guys will learn about in German 3. They're just learning about it right now, actually, called the Wechselpräpositionen. Those are changing prepositions because it changes between accusative and dative. So there is another type that exists that could make it accusative, but for right now, the only ones you've learned that are relevant are the accusative prepositions. And those are the ones that are like trump cards. It doesn't matter how it's used in the sentence. If it's followed by, or if it's following an accusative preposition, it's automatically accusative. No questions asked. Okay. Okay. Another thing that throws people off is that it is possible to have more than one thing be in accusative in a sentence. Okay? And I don't just mean I am buying a sweater and a skirt. Okay? Those are two things. But I mean two different ways to get there. Okay? So the example sentence, ich kaufe einen Kuli für meinen Vater. Both of the things in purple are accusative, but for different reasons. Why is meinen Vater an accusative? If you use the direct object, that means you are buying your father. That is what it means by being directly affected. Whatever you buy is the thing being directly affected. Look right before it. What do you see? Fear. What is fear? It is an accusative preposition. Okay, so it's right here. So because it followed that fear, it's automatically accusative. You see what I mean by that? Okay. What about einen Kuli? Why is that one an accusative? That's the direct object. That is the thing you are buying. So that is directly affected by the verb. So this one we'll put preposition over it. And this one is the direct object. Do those two things make sense? Yeah. If you didn't have the für in front of meinen Vater, so if you're trying to say you're buying it for your dad, but you didn't have the word für, you could rewrite that, but then he wouldn't be an accusative anymore. So if you rewrote it without that in there, same idea, you'd say, ich kaufe meinem, so now it's dative, Vater, einen Kuli. Same concept, except this time instead of saying, I am buying a pen for my dad, you're saying, I am buying my dad a pen. Great question.
What a great gift.
I was trying to pick a masculine object so that I could use the correct endings. It makes it stand out more. Good.
Actually, want really fancy pens.
Yeah, I like fancy pens. Next slide. Okay, dative or dative. Okay. So dative is the indirect object. And the best way to think about this one is, do you answer the question to or for whom something is being done? Okay. Like in the last slide we had the question, or the example, ich kaufe einen Kuli für meinen Vater. Okay? And then Haley asked a great question, what if you didn't have the für? Because you could still say, I'm buying my dad a pen. If you don't have that trump word für in there, that preposition that trumps everything else, you can say the same sentence, but you're rewording it just slightly. So now that dad is the one to or for whom something's being done. And so in this case, you say that you're buying it for him without using the word for. Okay? There are other ways to get there as well. So we talked about the two-way prepositions that'll come up next year. Okay? But there's also that list of data prepositions. Have we gone through this list before a couple times, or no? There's a little song. Have we talked about the song?
No.
Okay. So you can sing, they go in alpha order in the song. Außer bei Mitternachtszeit, von zu Gegenüber. You just got to tack Gegenüber on at the end because it doesn't fit into a song, but it's my favorite dative preposition. Okay, so außer bei Mitternachtszeit, von zu Gegenüber. Okay. So we'll go through those and all their different meanings and everything else, but they work just like accusative prepositions, except instead of making it accusative, they make it dative. Okay. And those will start coming up more and more in your textbook. Yasmin. Wie bitte?
What?
Wie bitte? Auf Deutsch wäre nett. Figure it out. Get back to me. Okay? There are also dative verbs, and some of these you've seen before, like gefallen in particular. Okay? That's that evil verb that you can't stand, right? Okay? That is the one where you have a main subject, but that main subject is usually an object. Okay? So it pleases somebody. Okay? Or what does helfen mean? To help. Okay, so to whomever it is pleasing, or whomever is being helped. What about danken? To thank, yeah. You know, danke, guess where that comes from. Okay? So whomever you are thanking. Those are just some of them. There are more than them. But those are the base ones, the common ones. Okay? So whomever you thank, whomever you help, to whom it is pleasing. Okay? Those people or things will be in dative as well. Haley.
With the last example where we reworded it, would the pen be the indirect object?
Nope, because you're saying you're buying something. Whatever you're buying will be the accusative thing. So you're buying the pen. If you flipped it, then you'd be saying you're buying your father for the pen. So you have to ask the question, to or for whom something's being done. That's what gives you dative. So you're not buying something to or for the pen. You're buying the pen. Does that make sense?
And then are you the direct object if you say, I mean indirect object?
The dad is the indirect object because the pen is for him.
Okay.
I am the main subject. I conjugated the verb for that. So ich kaufe, so the e ending is because the ich is the main subject. Here we go. Moving on. Next. Okay. So that's the basic overview of nominative, accusative, and dative. Okay. But something else that comes up in this chapter is that the question word who, so wer, that you've already learned, you've seen that one over and over, okay? Wer ist das? Wer bist du? Okay, all of those things. When you've been using it as if it's always the main subject that you're asking about, okay? So this one changes, and you notice, if it's main subject you're asking about, it ends in an R, just like der. When it changes to accusative, der changes to den, wer changes to wen. And in dative, wer changes to wem. Okay. So it's important to know that these words change, because otherwise you could ask the question that you, so if you're trying to ask, for example, whom is Bob inviting? If you don't change it to whom, so you don't change it to accusative, and you leave it as wer, then you're asking who is inviting Bob. So it does change the meaning of the question, so you do have to be cautious of that. Okay? So if you're using wer as your question word, that is a nominative form. So you're asking who is doing the action. So in our example sentence down there, wer lädt ihn ein? So the person you're trying to find out the name about, or the name for, is the person doing the inviting. Okay? Or if you said, wer lernt Deutsch? Who is learning German? Okay? In English, especially in America, we get sloppy about that. We don't use whom very frequently. Okay? But it does change. So if you're just saying who in English, it should be wer. But since you're asking about the main subject, if your word is wer, you always conjugate it like it's er, sie, es. Okay. Moving on to wen. Okay. So wen is the one that we use for the accusative. And you are trying to ask a question about the person directly affected by the verb. Okay. So our examples. Wen lädt er ein? He is the main subject. He is inviting somebody. Whom is he inviting? We don't know that. So that means we put it in accusative. Okay, it's the direct object. We just don't know the name of the person yet. Okay. It can also be used after accusative prepositions, just like in a regular sentence. Okay. So we've got our für word here, so that's our accusative preposition. So that changed wer to wen, just like der would have been den. Same concept. Okay. So für wen kaufst du das Geschenk? Okay. So this one is accusative because of the für. Das Geschenk is accusative because it's the direct object. It is the thing being purchased. So the first one is because of a preposition. Du is the main subject. So it's nominative. Excellent. Okay. Next one is wem. Wem is the dative version.
Like, stop.
Glad we got that recorded.
Oh, sorry.
Okay? And this is asking about the person to or for whom something is being done. Same as it would be if it was just a regular sentence. Okay? So, for example, wem gibst du das Geschenk? Okay? You are the main subject. What are you doing? You're giving something. So what are you giving? You're giving the gift. So that is accusative. It's the direct object. To whom are you giving the gift? We don't know yet. That's what we're trying to figure out. So that is dative because it's the indirect object. And this one, just like regular dative sentences, could also happen after dative prepositions and because of dative verbs. Okay. So mit is one of our dative prepositions. So that made wem dative automatically. So it's dative because of a preposition. So mit wem gehst du ins Kino? Okay. With whom are you going to the movies? We'd be more likely to say, who are you going to the movies with? Okay. But that preposition should actually be at the beginning of your question or your sentence. If you're going to use a dative verb, you could say, for example, wem hilfst du? What does that mean? Wem hilfst du? If it was who is helping you, then it'd be wer hilft dir. That's why this is important. So wem hilfst du? You are the one doing the helping. You're the main subject. So what's it asking? What does wem mean? Who or whom? Whom are you helping? Okay, because you're the one doing the helping. We're trying to figure out whom you're helping. Okay, so wem hilfst du? Like I said, in specifically American form of English, we are lazy about that. Alright, we're going to do some sample sentences here. First, we are going to go through, and we're going to be doing this a lot. Okay, shh, Kaylee and Becca. Okay? First thing you're going to do, whenever we do these things, is you're going to write out that sentence in English. And we're going to label it. Now, it says label with NEDV. What do you think the N stands for? Nominative. What about the A?
Accusative.
D?
Dative.
V? Verb. Good. Okay. So you're going to label with at least the nominative and the verb. There might only be that. There might be a dative. There might be an accusative. There might be more than one of those things. Okay. But you're going to do that first. And then we're going to talk about what the labels are. Make sure you have the labels correct. And then we'll go on to translate it. Does that make sense? Okay, so for right now, you are writing in English in your notebook, I am giving, or in your iPad, I am giving my brother a pen. And you are labeling it. Every single word in your sentence should be labeled. So if you have two words that belong to the accusative, for example, underline or circle both, and then put the A over top of it. Does that make sense? Yeah? 9?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so go ahead, take a second to do that. All right. Zeke, can you read that sentence aloud for me? Okay, so
I am giving my brother a pen.
let's label this one. Oh, here we go, take 24. Okay, let's label. So I am giving my brother a pen.
I am is N.
Say again?
I am is N.
Close.
I.
Okay,
Just I?
just I. That is the main subject. So it is nominative.
My fault.
Let's go with the verb next. What do we have for verb? Am giving, both of them.
I was close.
Mm-hmm.
Is my brother A?
What am I giving? A pen. What case is a pen? What case is a pen?
Accusative.
Accusative. That's the thing I'm giving. So it's directly affected by the giving. Okay? So always look at the verb. Think about what it is that you're doing. Okay? So, if you're giving something, whatever you're giving is accusative. If you're buying something, whatever you're buying is accusative. If you're eating something, whatever you're eating is accusative. If you're writing, whatever you're writing, whatever you're reading, whatever, that is the accusative thing. It's not always going to be right after the verb. Okay? The A is included in that. So again, every single word in your sentence should be circled or underlined or whatever and labeled. Okay? To whom am I giving that pen? What case is my brother? Dative. Because it answered that question, to whom am I doing something? In this case, giving. So to whom am I giving something? Okay? You with me so far? All right. So now that we have them labeled, it's easier to translate it. Okay? What's your first word going to be? E. Good. Am giving is one word. Okay, so there is no bin in there. It's part of the giving. How do you conjugate it for your main subject? What's the verb to give? Give. Gaben. Conjugate it? Geba. Okay, so this is your nominative. This is your verb. Now in German, just like English, if you have an accusative thing and a dative thing, because they're direct and indirect objects, not related to the prepositions at all. If you have those two things, your indirect object, so your dative thing, is going to come before your accusative thing. So just like it did in the English sentence. Okay? What's the base word for my? Mine. Okay, so we can. Mine is our base word. We're going to add an ending to it. Is brother masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural? Masculine. Check the chart. It's the same as the ein endings. So dative and masculine. Okay, einem. So now we have meinem. You see that? Okay. So if you look masculine, so the far left column under the M, go down to the blue for the dative, and it says einem. It does.
Yeah, it looks like an N from here.
Ah, okay.
Wait, where?
So blue column or blue row.
Yeah.
You see it says dem and then einem. So you add that em to whatever your possessive was. Okay. Wie sagt man brother? Bruder. Okay, so now this is dative.
Wait, you don't got umlauts over?
Nope. That's only if it's plural. What about a pen? It's der Kuli, so it becomes einen Kuli.
Wasn't that your nickname too?
Here we go. Next slide. All right, labeling again. She is buying her sister a sweater. Okay, and you're going to label again. Every single word needs to be labeled. She is buying her sister a sweater. Okay, here we go. What's your main subject? She is your main subject, so that's nominative. What's your verb? Is buying. What is she buying? A sweater. What case is sweater? Yep. And her sister, what case is that? Dative, because it's for her. Okay? So what's your first word in German? Sie. The ist is already part of your kaufen. Do not put them separately. Okay? So sie kauft. It's her sister, so it's not mine. The base word is ihr. Okay? So, sister, masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural? Feminine. So check your chart. Well, feminine, down to the blue for dative. Figure out what they added to ein. Okay, so einer. So now we need to add to this. What do we need to add to it? Er. Ihrer. Okay? Shh. So ihr what? Schwester. And then what? Einen Pulli. Good. Or pullover. Either way. Pulli's shorter. Most people prefer that. What if we were going to get rid of this ihre Schwester. Instead of saying her sister, say buy her a sweater. Do you think you could figure that out? Hint, use the blue chart. You're going to get rid of 2 words. You're going to get rid of ihre Schwester. And you're going to replace it one of the words off of this blue chart over here. Say that again. Huh? So her is a feminine word. Yes, we agreed on that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's this one up here. What case is she? She's still dative. Yep. So you go over to the dative column. Ear. See how I got there? Okay. So you could get rid of this and then put ear there, and that means she is buying her a sweater. Make sense? Okay. There you go. Next one. We are giving our parents a present. We are giving our parents a present. So label first, and then we'll discuss. All right, let's label. What's your main subject? We. Verb? Accusative? Our parents is what case? Would. Okay. So German, what's your first word? Next word? Does anyone know the word for hour? Close. It's not uns, but it's longer than that. It's extended. It's beyond uns. You add something to it. Unser. Okay, so the base word is unser. Parents, masculine, feminine, neuter, or plural? Plural. Yeah, it's parents. Okay, so go up to plural, down to dative. What are we going to add to unser? En. You can't add plural to it. We're trying to find out the ending. There we go. Okay? Does everybody see it? Okay, so unseren. Wie sagt man parents? How do you say? Eltern. Good.
How did you know to add the ER to uns?
Unser is the word for hour. It's just is what it is. Okay? And a present. How do you say the present? Geschenk. Der, die, or das? Das. Good. Okay, so change it up. So we've got das Geschenk. We need to say a present, and we need to put it in accusative. What's it going to be? Say again? Neuter. Neuter, down to accusative. What's the ein word?
I mean, no.
We're looking at the ein word under neuter in accusative. Ein. And then the word for present or gift. Geschenk. What if we went and did that same thing that we did before? We got rid of this unseren Eltern. In English, we would say we are giving them a gift. So using the chart, still dative. Say again? Not einen. You're on the track.
I just don't know how to say it.
Just try it. Ihnen.
There we go.
Yeah. Good. So you went down to here. It's this one in the bottom row, because that's the word for they. Go over to dative, and you have Ihnen. Yep. Good. So you replace it with this. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. What about this one? We're not going to label this one. Or I won't give you the separate time to do it. Let's just do it together. Okay? What is nominative in the sentence? Who? They're the one doing the studying. Okay, so it's nominative. What about a verb? Is studying. And we don't have anything else. Okay? So, how do you say who in nominative? There. And is studying. It starts with an L. Lesen is to read. You learn for a test, you study for a test. It's the same verb. Lernen. Okay, good. Now conjugate it. How do you conjugate it? If wer is your main subject, you always conjugate it just like something else. How do you conjugate it? Like er, sie, es. Good. Okay? So wer? Lernt. Not lernst, but lernt. Done. Slowly but surely. Okay? Moving on. We're not done yet. Bell didn't ring. I'm not done. You can even see the number of slides down there at the bottom. Okay? Whom are you visiting? What's your main subject? No. Who's doing the visiting? You are doing the visiting. Okay? So you are nominative. What's a verb? Are visiting. Both of these. Okay? So both of them are the verb. What's our, do we have an accusative or a dative? It's accusative. They're the people being visited. It's not to or for whom being visited. Okay? So this is accusative. Okay? So let's do our sentence. What's your first word going to be? Vain. Yep. Like, you're so vain. That kind of, okay? So vain. The sind is part of the visiting. Don't separate them. What's the verb to visit?
Oh wait, we gotta do the verb first.
Yeah. Besuchen. Yeah, remember the besuchen? Okay. Vain. So it's besuchen. How are we going to conjugate it? For no. You always conjugate for your main subject. Always. Wen besuchst. And then du. Okay? One more. Last one. Whom does the blouse please? What's the main subject? Careful on this one. We're not going anywhere yet. What's the main subject? The blouse. The blouse is doing the pleasing. What's the verb? Does and please, both. Okay? Whom, though, is special. What is the verb to please? Gefallen. What's special about gefallen?
It has the umlaut.
It's a dative verb. So, wem gefällt die Bluse? Okay? Gut. Tschüss, bis morgen.